What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Hardworking Happy Hour. I'm Sean.
And I'm Catherine, and as always, we'll be breaking down all things trades, entrepreneurship, and turning your creativity into a passion career. All right.
Hey, let's get into it.
Let's just get into it. What do we got going on today, Sean?
Well, not much. We just have the one and only Anthony Lombardo.
I'm back. Excited as ever.
First three-time guest.
Oh,
What happens when it rains? I can't go to work, so I got to come here and talk.
Trapped with us.
Yep, you're on salary, so
I know.
until the clock hits 4:30, you gotta,
Hey,
you know.
it's nice to get paid to talk every now and then.
Yeah. That's all I get paid to do.
Yeah, professional talker.
Yeah. Well, that's what we got going on this week. We
Yeah.
got our very own Anthony Lombardo. We're going to touch
Yes.
on part of the hiring process, a little bit of a follow up on that, and
Yeah.
then
Good.
just kind of rap about life and just
Where we're at.
just talking shop here.
Yeah.
In the
State
shop.
of the Union. State of...
Give the people what it's like at Premier Outdoor Living.
I mean, not totally, but a little bit of a
Little bit?
taste.
All right.
Yeah. Not a
Can't
full
tell
expose.
everything? Oh.
No, not everything. Not everything. That's a secret.
That's in your memoir.
Yeah.
Am I in it?
Oh, you're most of the book. You're on the front cover.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Anyway, this week we dove headfirst into the hiring process,
Sure did.
and it's always very interesting because we don't do it very often. Each time it's a lot different. I feel like last time we hired somebody the last person we hired was Steve, videographer. That was a little bit different. But hiring somebody to join the crew as a constructionite, is that the term?
I think so,
That's a
yeah.
good one.
Okay.
People understand.
Yeah, I think they get it. The last time, I feel like that was when we hired Tom.
Yeah.
I feel like we had a ton of resumes come in, and they came in like right away.
Yeah.
We had a lot of job applicants, and it seemed super promising right off the rip. This time, it took like a day or two to start getting them to
Generate
kind
some
of
leads.
yeah.
I was
come in.
actually surprised by that. I
So was
thought
I.
you were going to get bombarded,
So did I, a little bit.
and I was like a little disappointed that you didn't.
It's okay.
Yeah, we're here.
We're here. But anyway.
Yeah.
It ended up, people kind of trickled in, and we ended up getting some really good candidates, and it's very interesting because everyone is coming with different experience,
Very
different
different,
skill levels, different
It's like a good
life
smorgasbord
situations.
to pick from.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, do we want the experienced guy? Do we want the non-experienced guy? Do we want this guy? Do we want that guy?
Yeah. And I feel like we kind of did that somewhat on purpose, because it's not like we put it out saying like we are looking for a master carpenter or we are looking for a laborer. We just said like,
You want to work here?
yeah, do you want to work here?
Yeah.
We're looking for a general carpenter, hardscaper,
Type of person.
yeah, just you
Just
wanna work
show
here?
up.
Just show up. Yeah. Number one, show up.
So we kept it loose, and I think that was good.
Definitely. And I think it has to be because we're doing everything on the job. So it's like even Ant, as our lead carpenter, is still like, on paver day and there's no carpentry to do. He's like, all right, where do these pavers need to go? Let me
I'll
start
move
moving them. So like there's always going to be a huge array of tasks that need to get done on the job site. So it's kind of like you can't just like narrow in on one very specific thing, because it's good to let the person know right from the rip, like there's going to be a wide array of things that you're going to be asked to do. And we need somebody that's just going to be like, okay, great, let's get to it.
Yeah.
You know what I
They
mean?
just want to work. Like, it's just work.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what
You
you're
gotta have a
doing.
good
At the end of the
attitude
day, yeah, work's work.
And it's not like, oh, this isn't under my job
Yeah.
title here. This doesn't fall under my jurisdiction.
Yeah.
We don't need any of that.
Right.
We need a good attitude. We need somebody that's going to get after it with us. And it's been very interesting this time with like kind of all three of us part of the hiring process,
Yeah.
like evaluating the resumes, kind of talking through who the people were that applied, what their life situation is, what they're coming from, what experience they have, all that kind of stuff. And Ant, this was like the first time that you were like a bigger part of it, but this person is really going to be like fully your employee, basically.
Yeah, I
You're
guess
gonna be their
lack
boss.
of a better term, sure, because I'm out in the field all day to where you guys pop in and out every now and then to where I'm going to be more responsible for a new employee for like the type of work they produce and stuff like that. So I'm going to spend more time with them. So I was very happy to be part of the interview process because I like to get a read on somebody, just like simple things, how they carry themselves.
Yeah. I think something that is kind of interesting throughout this whole process is just hearing the way that both of you describe what it's like to work here. So like, it's like not something that like we like talk about every day. Like, okay, this is what it like to just hear it from a perspective of you guys telling someone else what it's like to work here. It's just like kind of interesting to like, you know, kind of sit back and, you know, you're trying to put your positive spin on it as much as possible. And, you know, also,
well, I guess from your perspective, right? Like you're the owner of the company.
It was the most compliments I've ever heard from you.
Like, it's probably nice to hear us like say like how cool it is to work here and how fun and all this good stuff.
Yeah, the whole hiring thing was just a ruse. It was just you guys to say nice things about me, so thank you.
We're not going to hire anybody, but I feel like we're going to do this process like every month now.
Every day, yeah. Yeah, but I just thought that was really cool, and I think you as the lead carpenter, the one that's really in charge of like, you know, taking the lead on all aspects of building. Like, okay, this is what we're going to get after today. Like, this is going to be the
goal,
the template of, okay, we're going to finish this, then that, then that. Tell us a little bit about like, what are the most important things that you're looking for in somebody, and like, how do you try to judge that?
I think number one, because I don't want to like pin people out with experience, because I just don't think that's fair. I think everybody's experience and like work journey is different. So like the first thing is work ethic. That's like my biggest thing. And with that, like it's just like, I don't know, trickles down to just like showing up on time, showing motivation, walking with a purpose, taking initiative, asking questions really just to like maybe learn something, but like just like paying attention to the job site, seeing what we're doing and just trying to adapt to it. For me, like somebody coming and just like asking questions like, what are we doing? Why do we do it? How do we do this? Why are you doing it that way? Can you teach me how to do this? Can we do this? I don't know. That doesn't really fly with me. But like, I'm always willing to help somebody and like teach somebody and learn something, like hopefully learn them something. So I think work ethic is number one. They need to understand that it's a physical labor job.
Yeah.
They can't come in like thinking like, oh, this is like looks fun on YouTube and social media, to know like you're going to get dirty and your back's going to hurt, your hands are going to hurt, it's going to be cold, it's going to be hot, you're going to be wet.
I feel like we really reiterated like with everybody at least 5 times, like it's hot in the summer. It's cold
and that's the
in the
word.
winter.
And for me, I hate that. So I don't like on those hot days, you don't want to be around me.
You get a little spicy. The weather's spicy and it's spicy.
Yeah. And other than that, just like, it's good to just like hear somebody's like outside of work life. Like, are they a family? Do they have, a wife, husband, kids, like what their background's like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you can kind of get a better sense of like what their life stability is like. Like,
and their lifestyle, like, do you come to work, put your 8 hours and go home and crack a beer open, or you go home and forget about work and like enjoy another hobby, or you like me, sick and twisted to where like I used to go home and like relive my day at work and like read books and like try to learn more about what I'm doing so I can be better.
Yeah. One of you might have been the one to tell me this because I completely forget who told me this, but you know how Chick-fil-A has like really great employees somehow? Like they just have like a minimum wage fast food job, but they somehow have like really great employees all the time. That's like the biggest part of their interview process. They don't care about their work experience. They just ask them like about their home life. And that really, because if somebody goes into an interview and is like, well, I live with my dad, but I hate him. He sucks. Like, that's probably not who you want to hire.
Yeah.
Like their experience might have been good, but that's how they talk. Then it's like, maybe that's what you want to talk about. But if they're like,
they probably need the opportunity more than anybody, though. That's so sad.
Well, I just meant they were talking negatively, figuratively. But like, or somebody who has like no interests at all. They're just like probably gonna go home and smoke weed and like just do nothing at night. It's like, well, that's probably not a super motivated individual. Yeah. So I thought that was interesting. And yesterday we did that with the guy we interviewed. We were asking him about his home life and stuff. And I was like, oh, these are like
good people.
I feel like we learned a little bit about this guy.
I think having that like outside of work view of somebody is it's weird because it's not gonna like directly correlate with like, okay, this person's into this stuff outside of work, so like they're definitely gonna be a reliable person, like somebody that has a very stable family life. Like I think it makes you think, like it gives you the inclination that they're going to be more of a stable person. Like they're probably going to show up every day. That's not always the case for sure, but it's just
it's more just like hearing them talk about it. Like, do they talk with passion, or do they talk with like they're just getting by
a robot and I need to say what I need to say to get the job.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good way to like get them out of like the pre-scripted stuff about the job that they've talked about. Like just ask them about something outside of work.
And then for me personally, like being part of the interview process was like super nice. Like I enjoyed it. It was, I think it was important for me to be there. But at the end of the day, like show up on Monday. Let me see how you work. Like, you can talk all you want. I'm going to like appreciate what you're telling me and everything, but your work here, this industry, like your work speaks for yourself if you can make it or not.
Yeah.
I think what you said with the way that they talk about stuff, you do get a vibe of just how they talk about previous employers or just like, the things that they say. They could have, some people had more of a negative spin on like a lot of previous experiences and like, it doesn't matter if, those were negative experiences for you and like that person did suck or whatever. It's just like, it's not really important to talk about right now. So like if you're coming in with that attitude that, my last job, like, this guy didn't know what he was doing. And it's like,
well, that vibe's going to probably carry over if you bring it here.
That was like my number one interview tip that I took away from like my corporate life. Whenever we interviewed people, like everyone has like, you have a bad boss or whatever. Yeah. Everyone has that. It's not like a unique experience. No one wants to hear you complain about them. If anything, like say what you learned or like how you overcame that or like what you did to compensate for that person. Yeah. That shows more initiative than being like, I'm the victim. My boss sucked. I couldn't get anywhere in life. And I feel like, especially in construction, when you're going from one construction job to another, usually you're leaving that previous job because
of a reason. You hit a dead end or you don't like your boss or you're not getting the opportunities that you want. So it's like, don't dwell on the sad stuff. Like no one cares. That just means you're going to talk about this company badly at your next interview. Yeah, your next interview.
Yeah. It's definitely a learning like experience to just like
it's fun, right? You get to like know a stranger walks onto the job site and you're grilling them with questions and you're learning about them, and then they walk home and they're like, all right, am I going to deal with this guy for 40 hours a week or am I never going to see him again?
That's something
like based on that one.
Like a month from now, I'm like, I wonder what happened to that guy. I wonder what he's doing now.
Yeah. Because they really are going to be around us like all the time. That's another big part of it is just like, would I want to hang out with this person for 40 hours a week? Because like it's a super small crew. Like we're all like there. One person could definitely like throw a wrench into the vibe.
Definitely.
And it was funny to just like, I don't know what it is about like talking to some people that like you just feel more comfortable. Like obviously, especially me, I'm like very like goofy and silly sometimes on site to just like throw out like a really like dumb, weird joke to like somebody that I just met. I feel like that just felt like a good gauge of
100%
how they were gonna like just fit in on the vibe. Like if I just say something like really like dumb and sarcastic, like are they gonna be like, what is wrong with this dude?
This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm not working here.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of fun. I wasn't really expecting that, but like I just found myself doing it to a couple people, and I was like, something about this feels right. This is a plus.
Yeah, like I try to live my life. I'm like open and transparent. Like sometimes it's too much, sometimes it's not enough, but like I'm just
unapologetically me. Yeah. Aren't we all? So it's pretty exciting times around here.
I'm looking forward to it.
We're in between maybe hiring one person, maybe hiring two people. We're kind of like, we've talked to a bunch of people. We're kind of sifting through that mentally, hashing it out. Like, okay, how would this person fit in? How would my role change if this person came in? Would I have to be overlooking what they're doing? Are they going to come right out of the gate and just be able to contribute? So it's, and it's all to a certain extent a guessing game. Yeah. So it's like a wait and see. Hopefully it pans out, but you never really know. So I'm excited to have somebody new on board, and it always feels like a reset.
We're such a small crew that adding or deleting a person feels like a big shift.
It definitely does.
Like the personality of the crew. So
Definitely.
it's exciting though. Change is exciting.
Change is exciting. Sometimes scary, but also exciting.
Let's not call it change. Let's say growing, right? Like these are growing pains.
Yeah.
Well,
growing is changing.
Sure,
we deleted an employee, now we're adding one.
Like
so
it's
now
not
it's kind
growing
of like
in numbers and stuff like that, but like.
Well, hopefully they're better than the last one.
you just figure like, all right, this employee came in, he provided X, Y, and Z, but there were certain things we didn't like about, and then, all right, cool, we're going to get a new employee. Let's see what he could bring to the table. And then I learned from it, like, oh, maybe I was this way with this old employee, so I'm going to be this way now because maybe that could change. And then I grow as like a leader or something like that, and then you just start vibing with different personalities to where somebody's personality could bring out something about me that I didn't know about, or bring something about you that you didn't know about. And then you just grow.
Yeah.
I think instead of like, I don't know, you just seemed like almost uncomfortable saying like leader or whatever. But you are a leader on the crew, and like everyone looks to you for like, Aunt, how are we doing this? Like, what's your plan? Anything that's like more complicated than like a simple detail. It's like, all right, Aunt, how are we going to tackle this?
I think for me, like the whole leader role, like I'll wear it and I'll take it. To me, it's just somebody needs to be able to make the decision like on the spot so we can continue to move forward.
Yeah.
Like when you have like too many chiefs and not enough Indians and like, hey, what do you want to do on this detail? And, person A says, oh, I want to do this. Person B says, no, do it this way. And person C does do it this way. Next thing you know, like 2 hours go by talking about a certain detail to where if you just have one person making the decision, you make it and you continue on.
Yeah.
Big on decision making.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what Jocko says?
What?
Only thing worse than a bad decision is no decision.
Yeah, you got to make this. Just move on.
Yeah. Because even if you make the wrong decision, you can be like, okay, that was the wrong decision. I can correct and do the other thing. If you just make no decision, then it's like you're just delaying the fact that you still might make the wrong decision when you finally do. So
it's something like that. Like, hey, let's do this color scheme. And like, no, I want to do it. Let's just pick one. Pick a deck board, put it on the wall, and let's go.
Yeah, for sure. I think that we should like structure it more like instead of like you're the leader, you're the quarterback.
Sure, I can handle that.
That's like something that you're familiar with.
You got to make the plays.
Some play caller.
Yeah, you give me the plays, and I'll pick the right play for the current drive.
Oh, I like this.
You're my offensive coordinator.
I like this. I'm like the. You're like the.
But I'm like Peyton Manning. Sometimes I don't listen to you.
Oh yeah, sometimes you're gonna audible.
Yeah,
a lot of audible. Yell in your ear, you're gonna audible sometimes. But
a lot of audibles.
That's what makes you great, Yeah, I think I could definitely. I'm like the young,
Mike McDaniel guy.
Yeah, like the new guy that's got this fresh outlook on how to attack a defense. Yeah. And you're my Peyton Manning. Yeah. That's
give me the plays. I'll pick the one and we'll move forward. If it doesn't work, we'll remember it and then we'll pick another one.
Yeah.
You get 4 downs.
Sometimes you're gonna audible.
You get 4 downs, you get a first down. You don't got to get a first down on the first play every time.
Love that. So this. I feel like
I'm full of it today.
All leadership type things should be put in this analogy of football.
I think earlier you guys were talking about wearing basketball jerseys on Fridays. I think it's going to be football jerseys now, and you guys can have your little, instead of your names, your little titles you just made up. Since
you don't really like watch or like follow football that intently, is this resonating as much with you or no?
I mean, I know what you're saying. Yes,
yeah, but is it resonating more than just like traditional leadership talk or no?
No.
Okay.
This is going to end up on a poster somewhere.
Yeah.
In some
you guys are doing great.
Find your Peyton Manning. I'll be your OC. I love that. All right, have we talked about the hiring process enough? Is there anything else you want to touch on that?
Not really. I think we covered it pretty well. Okay. We got good candidates. We got them from all different, backgrounds to where we have the opportunity to pick somebody that's experienced that can come in right out of the gate and help. We got somebody that's little experienced that we have to like mold and train, but at a longer investment. And then we have the option of one person or two people. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
It's like how much do we want to put like on my plate to help somebody on the field, and then how many do you want to add that to your plate as well? If we bring on 2 people to where we got to like tag team it and like, Sean, this guy is going to be like more of a hardscaping guy. Like you got to be his mentor a little bit more.
Just like a hardscape hardo.
Hardscape hardos.
Yeah. Another thing that we are thinking about is hiring one person and
a machine
and hiring a machine. Like, that kind of like is pretty equivalent to 1 year salary for a person with health insurance and taxes and workman's comp. So it's like we could hypothetically just buy like a $70,000 skid steer in place of one employee with all the taxes. And that's just like a kind of middle of the road. That's not a super experienced person. They're going to cost you more than that. So that's something to think about that we've talked about it before on the podcast. Like when is the right time to jump into that? And I feel like with something like a skid steer, once we have it, and we have one on site now that we rented, it's just awesome to have there. It's so not only so fun, but it's just so big and powerful. And like I feel like we would find so many more uses for it with just like moving stuff around the job site that would make like those really like sucky tasks easier. Just like, okay, this is the closest they could drop this pallet. We want it in the backyard. We could use a skid steer to move stuff around, and that's like, you know, better than the strongest person you can find.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, imagine breaking up that massive concrete pad that we had to.
Yeah. Just
with what we have.
Harbor Freight jackhammer and some strength.
That would take a week.
Yeah. And we broke out like a 20 by 20 concrete patio and a front walkway and front steps, and like till the very like at the very end we had to beat it with a sledgehammer a little bit, those steps. But
that was more like logistics because it had to get in the dumpster. We could have gotten
2 days,
it.
2 people is a great time.
And it was
like a day and a half. It wasn't even like 2
it was
days.
like easy.
Yeah.
It wasn't hard work, and that's like something that you could have 5 people there to like make it easier if you're doing it like by hand, but it's going to cost way more money. And like even if you have 5 people jumping on a big task like that, they're all still going to be miserable. You know, even though it's easier than 1 or 2 people doing it.
Machines don't complain.
They break down sometimes with the dingo, but
so do people.
so do people. That's true. We've all been there, haven't we? Let's talk about some other things. Some other things that kind of popped up into my head were just through these conversations that we've had with people. And one that I feel like, I mean, we talk about, you know, kind of a lot here, but we did something with that today. It's just like the flexibility to try out new things, and not only how that leads to like, you know, unique ideas and like innovative ways to do things. It's just makes it more fun.
Yeah.
You know, like I think that we haven't talked about that enough, like that benefit. Like obviously if you try new things, you're going to come up with new ideas and the thing's going to look cooler, but it also gives you this like excitement to like keep things fresh and new. Like we're not just going to do the same column detail on every project. It's going to be a little different. We're going to try out new things. And that was something that you talked about, you know, quite a bit with, the people that you were talking to.
It was like a big selling point for me to join Premier Outdoor Living. I come from a background where like I would do like a lot of cookie cutter, you know, projects to where you build 50 decks in a year, and next thing you know, like after the third one, like you kind of get bored of it. So on this particular project and all of our projects, like it keeps you on your toes. It keeps your mind moving. You never go stale. You never feel like you're in a rut. And the creativeness to it, right? Like I'm not like a super creative guy, but it's fun to like hit that void every now and then to like think outside the box and like, let me go to my boss and like say this idea that I have, because 6 years ago, if I did that, I'd get laughed at. Now my boss will actually like think about it and like maybe build on it and like change it. So you just feel a little bit more comfortable that like you get to just do your own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's why it feels like such a big thing when you hire a new person, because we do have that opportunity we don't do this like beyond like framing and like running deck boards. Like those are the only 2 things that like we do pretty much the same every time.
Yeah.
Other than like shapes and sizes or whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
But like other than that, if any of us want to try something new, it's usually like, yeah, go ahead. Like, so we have like a pretty short leash or like long leash, I guess the analogy is like to just try what we want. And if somebody wants to come in, they get that same opportunity too. So it's not like, you're going to be taught to do these things these ways, and you're going to do it. You're going to learn that way, and then you're going to, you know, people are given that opportunity to grow and try new things. And that's why it's kind of scary when you hire a new person, because it's like, are they going to flourish in that kind of environment? Because, or are they going to want that environment where they're like, I know what I'm going to do exactly.
Yeah, they want to be like a robot.
To a T.
Yeah,
every single day that I go to work, I don't really want to. I don't have any interest in being creative or trying new things, or like that kind of person wouldn't fit in our crew. So.
Yeah.
I feel like we're really lucky to have that opportunity. Just kind of
big time.
All of us know that at the end of the day, the goal is to create the coolest thing and the best quality thing possible.
Yep.
And we all live up to that standard. So like,
no,
will that next person?
You guys exceed that standard. You guys fly so high above that standard.
Such a good boss.
Thanks. You did text me world's best boss.
I did.
That was awesome because I immediately printed it out. I screenshotted it, and then we were in the van. So I was like, Catherine, how fast can we hook up this printer and print this out so that when he comes back to the van for the first time in like 2 minutes, it's already printed out and hanging on the wall.
And it's there.
And it's there. And it was awesome.
I did want to circle back on that. In the text, the text before that is Anthony saying that setting the beams with Steve wasn't easy.
No, I needed help.
Steve read it and he was like, what the hell, man? I thought he was helping.
Yeah, you told him he was helping good, but you know.
They were just the first two. They had a little trouble with like prep and like making sure their ladders were set up real good and like understanding like we got to do this like 10 times. So like take the 3 minutes and get yourself set up. Don't be like, I'm not yelling at you guys to hurry up and like get them to me. You guys are, I don't want you to fall and get hurt.
Yeah. It was just a funny text thread.
Yeah.
Steve got in the van and was like, oh man. And I was like, that wasn't what Sean was printing out. Sean just wanted the part that said world's best boss to be very highlighted.
Yeah. Well, you know,
it is what it is.
It's a plus
like
for
I
one
said,
of us and
sometimes me being honest can be bad sometimes.
No. He knew it was all from love.
Yeah.
And you were just happy that he, put down the camera and
he helped.
Yeah, he helped.
Steve, that's great for Steve.
See, that's another example of like how we, everybody pitches in.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think one thing about the creative element and like trying new things for me, which has been really cool, is like when you first started, it was kind of like, okay, I'm gonna run wild with some ideas and like I'm gonna show you like, okay, this is the detail, like this board like this board like this. As we've worked together longer, like we kind of have that rapport where it's like you kind of know what way I'm leaning. I don't have to like lay out all the exact details. And then since you've like built a ton of them, like columns, for example, we've done like, I don't know, 20 different like column details.
Yeah.
And it's like, we can like both collaboratively come up with a cool new way of doing it.
The 21st detail now.
Yeah. Like it can be a variation of something that we did before that'll make it like easier, cleaner to do, or, we'll like just hold up better long term, like just all little things like that. It's cool to like now have that collaborative back and forth where I can like come up with a creative idea, you can throw in your 2 cents, or now you're starting to like come to me with like crazy ideas. Like what we're looking at behind the camera is we started doing miter folds, and yesterday Ant's like, instead of just doing one fold, what if we folded them
one board,
both sides, and just did one board and has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 folds in one board. You'll see that later.
We'll find out Monday if it fits.
Yeah. But stuff like that is like, when you said that, I was like, I don't even care if it fits. Like if you can just bend a board like that and we can just take a picture of it. If we put it on the steps and it doesn't fit, I'm like, I don't care. If you can bend it and we can make a video of it, like that's amazing. That'll be so cool.
Yeah.
So things like that, I think, have just been really cool for me to be a part of. And like, I think it helps me just be more creative.
Yeah. I like to think of my mind as like a hamster wheel, and I want my hamster to keep moving. Like
That's exactly how I think of my mind.
Right? Like when it slows down, like you get bored and you kind of lose like the reason why you're doing what you're doing. Like I love what I do for a living. It's my passion. I'm not going to do anything else. I eat, sleep, breathe this industry. So to get into a company where like you're able to just like be yourself and do not like do whatever you want, but like think about different ways of doing something. It just makes it just more exciting to go to work.
Yeah.
Not like, oh, going to work. Oh, cool. I'm going to build a 10 by 10 deck with it's gray deck boards with white lattice on the side with white railings and a set of steps and go home. Like,
yeah.
Who wants to do that?
Not me. I would be so checked out mentally, and I would probably go into some deep depression. It would be horrible. I would hate that. Yeah. What do you think about that?
What about the 10 by 10 decks?
Just anything. Just whatever. Anything we've been talking about.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that,
and I think your voids get filled with the content. Like unfortunately, like it's hard to think of content. I'm like out of gas for a little bit. It's
Well, you
hard.
thought like 10 yesterday, so you're good for a while.
you did a good job recently.
I'm like out of gas. So now you guys have to sit in the van and like have to like, oh
Yeah.
crap, we have to think about content. We have to think about ideas and stuff like that. So that's like the same thing kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we have a good mix of people though, because I think that with creativity for anybody, it would come in waves. Like some days you're feeling so inspired, and some days like I'm sitting down and I'm like trying to write a caption for something, and I'm like, I literally cannot think of anything interesting to say at all. My brain is done. But like, I think that we all balance each other out because we all have, we all have these creative ideas, which is nice.
Absolutely. You think so?
I think that like having the creative idea, right, is one, and two, I think we just all understand like how important the content is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like we can like, oh, Sean's like away all day on calls or whatever you do when you're away all day. Like, all right,
Very
now
important.
I feel like I would
Very
have,
important.
I would have to step up and make content or think of ideas, or if like Sean's away and I'm busy to where like Catherine comes out of the van like, Aunt, you got any content ideas? And I bark at her and she's like, oh, I'm not going to ask Aunt for content today anymore.
might not be the day.
Now I got to think of content to do. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how it is. And it's good that we all know at the end of the day, like, all right, the goal is content. We got to make content.
You know, it's one of my favorite things is when Steve will like come back to the van and I'll be like,
like,
yeah, you get anything? He's like,
not today.
Ant's, he didn't really want to talk. He didn't want to say anything. He didn't want to talk about it. So I was like, okay, I'll come out there in a little bit and I'll talk about something. I love that. He's just
It's
like,
true though.
No, he's not in the mood today.
It's not the mood today. It's in the mood of that moment.
Yeah.
Like my moment, I'd say my moment changes are like at least every 15 minutes
Yeah.
throughout the day.
Yeah.
There was a funny interaction yesterday where Ant had a good idea for a clip and Steve made it or whatever, and the clip came out fine, but Steve showed it to Ant, and Ant's like, I hate that part. And then Steve comes over to me and he's like, Ant doesn't like this part. Should I change it? And I was like, don't change it. And then Ant's like, you had the camera in my face. And we're like, Steve and I were like, the clip is great. Let's just, we'll move on.
That is it's a fun dynamic.
That's the behind the scenes of Premiere that people don't see.
Yeah.
It is convenient that we all just speak our minds though, and no one like takes it personally. It's just
Yeah.
You
like,
can't.
that idea was dumb. Let's move on. We're fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah, we are all pretty good at just like taking it. You know? Like,
And to me, like that, for me, I always fall back. It's like decision making. And what did you think?
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Move on. We can start talking about how to fix it now.
yeah.
It's not that I hate it and I think you're dumb and you should never made it. It's just like, what do I think? I don't like it.
Yeah. I think we're all pretty
appreciate-
good at like not taking stuff like that personal.
I appreciate the honesty, and
Usually
I
it
like
just
to.
makes me
That's how I
laugh.
am too.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Do
that
it-
sucks. That's wrong.
You're like that?
Sometimes I can be like
Sometimes.
that.
Sean's
sometimes.
approach is like, it's really good. I love the effort you put into it, but I think we should like maybe do it this way. I'm like, come, dude. All right, we're not doing it then. Let's move on.
I just want to build you guys up, man.
Just
I
to break
want you
us
guys to just know the compliment sandwich. You know, this was really great. I love the initiative that you showed. It was awesome. The video's terrible, but you know, I think that you will be able to do a better one. Stuff like that.
All I hear is the video was terrible.
Yeah. And that's all that matters. Yeah, so I guess I should just cut out most of that other stuff. Yeah. Another thing I want to talk about is like we talk about this idea of being able to be flexible and not have like this hard set, like super tight timeline on things where it's like if we go one day over this projected timeline, we're going to be in the red. You know, we're not going to be making the right profit on this job. I think that's something that's really hard for some people to wrap their heads around. Like they've just either worked for companies that are like so production driven, or they've run their own company that way. And it's hard for them to like see a way out of that to have that flexibility. And we've been able to have like a couple different ways to go about that. One is with the content that is able to bring in revenue to like ease some of that pressure. And it kind of works hand in hand. Like the more we try new things, the better the content is. The better the content is, the more flexibility it gives us on the job site day to day. But if you're not doing content like that, I think there's some other ways to like gain that flexibility in your business, like keeping your overhead low.
Yeah.
Like, how important do you think it is to have that flexibility that we have if you were either working for another company or having your own company? Do you think that is like something everyone should strive for?
Yeah, with my experience with all the past companies I worked with, I think if you're able to, I guess, have like a supplemental income, right? Something that helps you generate income to where like your projects can have flexibility with timelines would be huge for morale for guys. Because I mean, I hated having somebody call me and the first thing they said, like, when are you going to be done?
Yeah.
Is the project done yet? Are you still on timeline to get done on this date? Like, I don't know. I'll always strive to get a project done. Like, I don't want to say as quick as possible, but just as like fast as it does to take to measure something, cut something, and install something. But it's just like a morale killer to just have somebody always like
breathing down your neck.
You're gonna get done. To where my mentality is like, it'll get done when it's done. Like,
yeah. I think that you can get to that point where you don't have those super tight timelines and you're still making all the profitability, but that needs to come with a lot of experience, a really good reputation, like a really good process to be able to like build in flexibility, still be super profitable and have everything run smoothly. But like when you're starting out, you can't just jump to that point. So us, like we have content that's supplementing some revenue to give us that little bit of a breather. Yeah. You can structure your business so you have really low overhead and you don't have the overhead of a large company, so you can be more flexible. That's what I wanted to do in the beginning. You can also take a look at just like your personal life and your lifestyle and
make some changes.
Yeah, like not buy a house that's bigger than you can afford or all that kind of stuff.
I worked for a guy once. His thing was every day he tried to save $100, and it was by like returning something to Home Depot or like the stores or something like that, or like whatever it was. Like his goal was like every day to save $100, because you figure $100 times 365, like
$36,500.
You know what I mean? That's like
right.
No, it would be 3,000. I don't know. I
don't know. Math. No, 36,000.
Yeah. So he's saving $36,000 a year, and it was little things like something that he did that I found so funny was we were on a job and we're doing demo and we have all these contractor bags filled up, and then the dumpster shows up. He's taking the contractor bags, untying them, and dumping the trash out, and saving the trash bags.
See, no, okay. That I feel like
it's a little excessive, but he was doing it. And I was like kind of impressed by it. That all right, whatever. If that's how you're gonna try to save your $100 today, have at it.
I'm just imagining if I was doing that. Like, I don't think you'd be looking at me like, "There's my boss. I respect that." He's dumping out that trash. He's saving those trash bags. Look at him go.
Yeah. But just like returning things, like the returning things was good because I think if you do pay attention to that, like you could like, oh, after this week, like I'm returning all especially in like home remodeling when you collect so many different things.
Yeah.
3 outlets, a faucet, a mirror, some like one by material and some trim, like could add up to like, oh, $600 and, credit back to the company.
Yeah. I thought you meant like out of all the money he made, he set aside $100.
No, it was like the mentality of like saving $100 a day with like not wasting something.
Yeah.
Returning stuff.
Do you feel like that actually worked, or just like he was so preoccupied with trying to save $100 that he was losing $300?
I think he was like the boss of the company. He didn't really like was a worker. He was like
his daily task was just let's save $100. Hey, if it works for him, that's great. I don't
know what he did with the $100. Who knows?
Did you see it?
I never saw it.
No? Dang. But you had to use those old crusty bags?
Yeah, I would get a trash bag that had holes in it.
That seems a little excessive. I think there's some other ways that you can go about having that flexibility, especially to like build up your portfolio and like get that sense of morale, and it'll be easier to hire people and have people stay with your crew because you just have like a better experience on the job site, and it's a little bit more laid back.
Yeah, for me it's a morale thing. That's where it hits me the most, being able to like come to work and like when I see you in the morning, the first thing isn't like, so Ant, we're gonna be done today. Like I would just probably just get in my truck and leave. Yeah. Like I guess you're not.
It's like, Ant, can we hang out this weekend? And you're always like, no, I'm busy. I'm like, all right, maybe next weekend. I bet by year 5 we'll see. I don't know if we've ever even seen each other on the weekend.
I think like maybe 3 times.
Maybe. Oh, you came to my birthday
You
party
came
once.
to you came to a birthday party.
I see.
Was that before you worked here?
I think it was just when I
Oh yeah, you
that
probably
was
just
for your
started.
birthday in October, right? So
Yeah.
I think that I started in August. I think it was that
Yeah.
first.
I see you guys
I think
more
so.
than I see my family.
Yeah,
if
that's
you
true.
think about hours, right?
Definitely.
I go home. I get home after work. You know, me and fiance and my son, like we get like maybe 3 hours, 4 hours of like quality time during the week, and then we go to bed. And we wake up in the morning. It's the rat race of getting out of the door as quick as possible, and then I'm here with you for 8 hours.
Well, if she's the luckiest woman in the world, then I don't know what that makes me, but I'm just so happy. Wow.
Right? Like if you think of like, oh, I want to talk to Aunt on Saturday afternoon, like just wait a day and a half. I'll see you on Monday.
It's true. I'll start writing things down.
Just broke his heart.
Yeah, we have like we'll have a full running like conversation queued up as soon as you get there. I'll make
These
sure
are all the questions I had for you Saturday.
I want you to not only enjoy this conversation with me, but respect the fact that I waited. So let's have fun with this. Yeah. I feel like I had something else I wanted to talk about. I can't quite remember what it was though.
What will help trigger it?
I had a point, but
Oh, you forgot to?
No, I remember, but we're past it now.
What is it? Throw it out there.
Well, when you were talking, I feel like it was a combination of what you guys were both saying. Like you were like, keep your overhead low, and you were like, do things for morality. I think that having your employees on salary and knowing, like, when it comes to money, you know the daily cost of running the business factored in, like, everything, like insurance, whatever. It costs X, Y, and Z to run this company per day. I think that when you have that in mind and you know you're going to pay your employees either way, then it eliminates that, like, is it going to be done today? Because you're not, you're putting like an hourly amount on your employees. Like you have that rate on them. Those are just like commodity based people at that point, and then you're treating them as such. For us, it's like you take away that like get it done factor because you're paying them either way, and then it's just more on you to figure out like how to bring more money in because you already know that money is going.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Create
Does that make sense?
animosity because like you'll come to me, Aunt, why didn't you get this done fast enough? Right now I'm angry and I'm going to go to you. Well, why didn't you order everything we needed? You know what I mean? And now we're creating like tension for what?
Yeah, I think for me, it's always been helpful to like look at things from like further back. Like if you look at everything day to day, like when I first started telling people that like everybody was on salaries, they're like, what do you mean? That's like how? That doesn't make any sense. What if it rains?
Really?
I'm like, well, then it rains and we try to do what we can. And if not, then we don't.
Yeah.
But like you have to like factor that in over, like look at the bigger picture because otherwise, you know, those things are still going to happen. You're still going to have rain days. And if people are on salary, you're paying them anyway. If they're not, they're sitting at home like, I'm not making any money today. So it's going to be harder to keep them. Like you still have those same things. And if you can just learn to like step back and look at that bigger picture, you're going to be so much better off. Because if we look at today, it's like, what did we do? We built a set of temporary steps for the front yard, and then we hung out all day, and it cost, you know,
Quite a bit of money.
like $2,500.
Yeah, but
Is that worth it to hang out with you guys all day? Absolutely. But no, I mean, like things like that.
So I
like,
just have to pay you $2,500 and I can go home.
yeah. If I accept it, which I won't.
Right.
But yeah, like if you're like really like so dialed into the numbers that like you can't detach from them, days like this would drive you nuts. You'd be like, I just spent $2,500 and all we have is a crinkled up deck board over there. That's all we have to show for it.
Yep.
But like, you know, it's these days happen, and the same thing with this job. Like this job's gonna go slower because, well, not only somebody left during the, you know,
Start of it.
but also it's rained like almost every day. It's slowed us down a lot, but we're going to have some jobs where it's not going to rain at all. So like you need to step back and look at that bigger picture and like, you know, just take it as a whole instead of these little individual parts because you'll go crazy. You'll drive your employees crazy and it's just not going to get you anywhere.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm still trying to think of that thing I wanted to ask. I can't remember. It was so good too. God.
Okay, well, can we move on to the bad sales story while you're thinking of your question for Tony?
Cliffhanger. Yeah, that'd be great.
All right, Bear. So
All right.
you want to know?
Yeah, let's hear your bad sales story.
So before I was with Premier, I did own my own little company for a short stint, about a couple years. And this one time I got a call about a guy wanted a deck built. I was like, oh, awesome. You know, build a nice little deck. And phone conversation went well. Went and met with him, and we go in the backyard, and the entire time, all he was talking about how he can build this and how it's easy to build decks and how he just doesn't have the time, and it's building decks is easy and he loves to do it. And I'm like, all right, man. And I'm looking at his project, and it's like a 500, 600 square foot deck, kind of high off the ground, about 3 sets of steps, all at different elevations because like the yard kind of sloped a little bit. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't think you could have built this. So I'm just like getting a vibe from him. Like, oh, does this guy think like my price is going to be too high because he can do it himself? And then, we're talking shop now. Maybe he wants to impress himself or whatever. I don't know. So I'm just entertaining it. And next thing you know, like we're in his garage and he's like showing me all the tools he bought. And like, he's got like that little miter box with the handsaw, yellow and black handle. He's showing me like his drills and like all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't know if this is going to be a good fit to where I'm going to like clean up on a Friday and like come back on Monday and like there's decking on the deck. And I'm like, what are you doing, man?
And he's got his Ryobi drill still out there.
Yeah, he would come out while you were out there fully dressed in his little
you need help? Do you need help? Like,
I'll give you a hand, buddy.
I just think when you deal with customers that talk about how easy the project is, that they could do it themselves, they just don't value the skill set that I can provide. And like the money, not the money that I'm trying to get because like I want to be a millionaire, but like the money that I deserve with the care that I'm going to put in the project. I don't think that's there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, plus or minus half the tools were in some way attached to a pegboard in a one-car garage.
No, there's a lot of jelly jars, right? Screwed to the ceiling, like little nuts and bolts, and like it just was bad. Like I don't know. Listen, I appreciate people that DIY and stuff like that. But when it comes down to it, like it's one of those like stay in your lane moments.
Yeah.
You don't like, oh, I enjoy like, you don't like become a doctor like on the side. Like, oh, I can like do open heart surgery, right? You just cut the person open, like tie a couple things together, call it a day.
I don't know, because I know an orthopedic surgeon, and he's like, you could definitely do this. Like, it's literally just like carpentry, but with bones. Like, tools are similar. I could probably
I guess what it comes
surgery.
down to is it depends on the value that you want to put into your home and your project. Like, if you don't really care about your kitchen and you just want to do a little DIY kitchen, have at it. But if you want to sit down and like, it's like eating dinner at McDonald's or an expensive steakhouse.
Yeah,
you're both gonna get the same
calories.
Yeah, same rewarding feeling, right? Like whether it's a cheap kitchen or an expensive kitchen, you can still wash your dish, you can still cook your food. It depends on like the experience that you want and the value that you want to put into it.
Yeah. Love that. Well, that could have all been avoided if you used Groundwork,
What's Groundwork, Sean?
It is a way that you can screen out your potential clients with video walkthroughs. And if you want to try it out, use code HardworkingHappyHour50 for 50% off your first 2 months. And, you'll be putting in the groundwork for better things to come.
Yeah.
Interesting.
All right. Well, I never thought of my question.
Oh, okay.
No, I did not. So you know what that means.
Do you want to think of like a fun question to ask, Anthony?
Oh, that's a good one. Okay.
You can do the bee jellyfish one if you want.
What?
No, that's just dumb. I want to ask like a really good question. Ours was, would you rather eat? What is it?
Be trapped in a room full of bees or eat a jellyfish?
Trapped in a room with bees.
That's what we both chose as well.
Yeah. Anyway, these are the kind of things that happen in the van. All right. Ant. All right. Since we're going with the football analogy.
Oh boy.
Oh, okay.
We're on the same football team.
Yep.
You're the quarterback.
Okay.
We got a whole team.
Yep.
I must be a starter somewhere. Where are you going to put me?
Where am I going to put you?
Yeah.
Offensive side?
Sure, yeah. So we got to be on the same side of the ball.
I think I would put you at like a slot receiver.
Definitely,
right? Yeah. Because I'm going to put you somewhere on the field where
I'm going to get hit immediately.
You're going to catch the ball and just go on the ground. Like we don't need you to be flashy. We don't need you to try anything else besides just focus on catching the ball and falling on the ground. Right? Like if the defender's to the left of you, I'll throw it to the right of you so you can catch it and then he's going to tackle you.
Yeah.
Because I'm confident that you can focus on one task at a time And if your task is just catching the ball.
Yeah, wait, what?
Yeah, what?
Well, no, if like you're like thinking about like, oh, I'm going to catch the ball and I'm going to run 100 yards. Like, no, first you have to catch the ball, then think about running 100 yards.
All I got to do is catch the ball and brace for impact.
Yeah,
That's
not a lot of yaks on your stat sheet. But I'll give you the respect that I think you can get some receptions.
It's always like those smaller white guys that are slot receivers.
Just catch the ball and get to the
not Wes Welker.
Yeah.
And
see, he can move. Like,
oh, okay.
Not for size, like a Keyshawn Johnson. Keyshawn Johnson was just
what? That's amazing.
He was no yaks. Look at his stats. He wasn't a yak guy. Catch the ball. And that
means yards after catch.
Yeah.
If you didn't know. Okay. He's the man. That's awesome. Yeah. Straight loyalty. Played for the Panthers
probably
like
average
his whole career.
0.3 yards yaks.
But straight possession receiver.
Exactly.
Them big hands, big body. That's me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big hands, bigger body. Woo.
A lot to love.
All right. Well, with that, thanks for all your great insight. And since I forgot my such good question for you.
We'll have to have you on for
exactly. You got to come back. So I hope everyone liked this episode. If you did, please, hit subscribe on whatever podcast platform that you have. And also, if you have a question for Ant, write to us on Hardworking Happy Hour. If you want, if we have him on again, you want to ask him a question, or if you have some topics for us, we'd love some feedback. So, subscribe, give us feedback, leave us a review.
Yeah. And if you want to follow Tony individually, what's your handle? Premier Tony?
Premier Tony on Instagram and
there you go.
TikTok, I think, as well.
Well, you're the most Premier Tony I know. So, all right. Well, with that, I guess that's it. And this has been the Hardworking Happy Hour.
See you next week.
Great time.
See you Monday, Ant.
Yeah.